firefighter was my husband, Josh Laird. He was a career firefighter with Frederick County, Maryland for 21 years. He was Aaron and Maddie's dad, and he was an all-around wonderful person.
My entire life he was just like around, just like doing school stuff with us, and like that was kind of nice about his job, that he got 2 days off for every day he was on, so he got to do field trips and stuff with us, which was really nice when we were younger.
The biggest thing I remember about him is just him always being like a prankster. He would always play pranks, jump out at you when you were walking like past a wall or something.
So Josh had been in the fire service since he was a teenager, probably since he was 15 years old, maybe even before that. He started as a junior firefighter at the local volunteer station, got his EMT, and at one point was the youngest paramedic in the state of Pennsylvania. And it's actually how we met. I worked ambulance, not in the same town, but so between friends in the EMS community is how we were introduced. And it was always what he had done. And he had promoted up doing the paramedic thing, and he was a deputy chief. And you know, the dream was always to be a career fireman. That's every little boy's dream, and that was his dream. And he had applied, and 21 years ago, there weren't the number of career jobs that there are now. And so, you know, for every 1,000 people that wanted a job, there was one spot. And he had applied, and I kind of had to push him to apply because he was nervous that he wasn't good enough or he wouldn't get it. And then he got on the list. He didn't get the first round, he got on the list, and we had actually moved. And I went and checked our P.O. box because I still kept it in case we missed something. And then one day there was a letter telling him to come for an oral exam, and that was it. And then he got hired. I mean, he was a girl dad. He fully embraced the girl dad. He would tell you that was God punishing him for his behavior in his younger days, that he had 2 daughters. But he fully embraced it, and he was a girl dad. And you know, for me, it's why I was able to have a career, was because he was with them. So they didn't go to daycare when Dad was home. Dad always took care of them. When they were infants, we were a team. It was a full partnership. I mean, he was the best dad.
Yeah, like every time during the summer, we spent most of our time with him while Mom was at work, except for the 2 or 3 days a week where he had to go to work. But other than that, we spent all the time with him whenever he wasn't at work. And he did stuff with us at school, and he came to sports and all of it. It was great.
He liked to do field trips with us, and he was usually one of the only dads there. But yeah, he would do a lot of field trips with us. When I was younger, he would take me, while she was at school, he would take me fishing, and we'd get breakfast and then come back. And I wasn't supposed to tell them we got breakfast. Of course, I told them, though.
And yeah, he served, as they got older, he served on the local school board. He ran for school board, and he was on the school board. So he was always involved in the community, both at work and at home, always willing to volunteer to help someone out or anybody that needed anything. He would find people who would be like on Facebook posting they needed a ride to work because their car broke down, and he would go pick them up. Or he loved to, if he'd see an old couple or somebody by themselves in a restaurant, he loved to get their bill and pay it like anonymously. I mean, the chief the fire chief, has been absolutely amazing. And so we're 14 months out, and I still talk to him on a weekly basis. And he's been a huge, huge support. The DFRS has been a huge support to us.
Yeah, for me it was crazy because I had never seen anything like, I was only 14 when he died, so I had never really paid attention to like a fireman's funeral before. And the outpour of support, and I think like the newspapers around the funeral described it as like a sea of blue. And that was something that I completely hadn't anticipated, but it was really something beautiful to see.
My experience with the NFFF has been nothing short of phenomenal. Because we live so close, I engaged very early with them. So the girls and I attended the winter retreat last year. which was extremely emotional because it was so close after, but it's where we needed to be. And the weekly support calls that I do have been really, really helpful. Really helpful. I look forward to those calls. I've connected with other women that are going through the same thing that I'm going through or have already gone through it. And now that I'm 14 months out, unfortunately, there's some new women that have joined the group. And it helps me to be able to help them too. So, I don't know. I think it's been really good. And I think in the future, you know, the girls are already talking about wanting to come back and help with fallen firefighters events in the future since we live so close, and to continue to participate with them. He always put others first. He was absolutely my biggest cheerleader, always supporting me in all my crazy things. Whatever I came up with, he would always support me. He would always support the girls. He was quite the comedian, and he was always pulling pranks. He would, multiple times a day, he would sit on the couch and he'd get up and he'd go stand kind of like behind the one doorway, and he'd yell for the girls and he'd say, "Erin, Maddie, come down here." And literally he was just calling them down just to jump scare them. He would just come down, he would just jump out at them. He loved Halloween. He loved costumes. He loved fishing and hunting and travel and food. He was just a really, really good human being.
I definitely agree with all of that. And I think the biggest thing that I want people to remember is not really one specific thing, but more to remember what he did, like with his life, like how much he got to do while still helping people, but then still enjoying his life and giving all three of us an amazing life with him.
His job was so important to him, but that past his job, he was such a human being. Like he wasn't defined by his job. And I love that about him, that it wasn't just his work that defined him, that he had things that he loved, like Halloween and being around us and
Rock collecting.
yeah.
Metal detecting. He had a lot of hobbies.
He really liked Mexican culture, and he would get a really deep tan and he would say, "I'm Mexican," and we're like, "You're completely not, but it's okay."
Here's to you, with that smile on your face. Here's to you, and what I want to raise to this moment we share, to the love